Hi, I am Nikolai, and this is the story of my team and I created a studio-level post-apocalyptic cinematic in 10 months. Who are the creators of True Man Cinematic? It's me, Nikolai, Lёsha Taranov, Anton Kozlov, and Kirill Simonenko. None of us were Unreal Engine 5 pros when we started, but in just 10 months we managed to create a 30-second cinematic. Here's the story of how we went from rough sketches to the final render. At first, we made a clear decision. We are doing a post-apocalyptic story with zombies. We chose David Wellington's short story Agent Unknown for the apocalypse triptych The End is Nigh as our foundation. We broke down one of its key scenes into simple shots and started previsualizing. To find the right reference, we watched hundreds, maybe even thousands of cinematic game trailers, 3D series and films. We ended up downloading around 250 clips for editing. The concept of the cinematic was clear. The next step was bringing our Previsualization into Unreal Engine. That's where the real challenge began. Teamwork. We all live in different cities all over the world, so sharing project files took hours. Then Alex came up with a game changer, Perforce Helix core.
While planning our team workflow, I suggested implementing version control using Perforce Helix core. It enabled us to collaborate in real time, track change across the shared project, and roll back to any previous state when needed. This saved us multiple times when the project broke in Unreal Engine. For example, once Kola accidentally broke the project by importing asset incorrectly. We simply reverted everyone's version to the last stable submit. Overall, I'm very satisfied with Perforce. In the course, we made nearly 400 submits.
At the blocking stage in Unreal Engine, we set up cameras, added basic animations from Mixamo, and went through multiple iterations, render, tweaks, search for new references, and so on in an endless loop. The key aspect of the work is composition and guiding the viewer's eye. We assembled our frames, adding guiding lines from blocking assets to our cinematic. My background in video making helped us build engaging composition. I focused on directing, how the camera moves, where to place the emotional and visual accents.
Before I started working on this cinematic project, I had never created any motion picture shots or set up cameras to set scene. So I had to really dive deep into the film theory and learn all new things to me, what is focal length, framing, plans and composition. First couple of hours with Unreal Engine very complicated, even though UI is similar to other 3D apps. The most challenging part was working with the sequencer, to follow compositional decision and accurately interpret the focal length from references. After completing about a third of the project, our cinematic looked like this.
Animation turned out to be the toughest and most unpredictable part of the entire project. First, we created characters in MetaHuman Creator, and as we created our MetaHumans, it was time to dive into Maya, and that became our main tool for the next 6 months. None of us had used it before, and the whole pipeline was new to us. Characters were exported to Maya. The character's rig was reworked with advanced skeleton and adapted for manual animation.
Our initial plan seemed simple. We take mockup animation from Mixamo, tweak them slightly, and it's done. Big mistake. We quickly realized this approach wouldn't meet our quality standards. So we decided every animation would now be either created from scratch or heavily reworked from mockup. Early on, we had a whole series of hand-cut animation. They weren't good, but at least they were original. Hand animating proved brutal. It was time-consuming, demanded deep knowledge, and we were short on experience. Personally, I had zero grasp of body mechanics or core animation principles, which led to constant mistakes. Still, I quickly started sensing rhythm, timing and spacing, but my lack of understanding of human motion kept my results mediocre.
There is a scene in which a character takes a gun out of its holster and points at the enemy, and building it was really challenging. Due to inconsistency in the original reference material, object lens, perspective, we had to shoot our own video references and create the animation from scratch. We needed 15 to 16 takes to get the proper dynamics, timing and emotional impact, followed by a week of adjustment to incorporate them into the final cut. Upon finishing the second phase, our cinematic featured high-quality animations that continued to be polished until the very release of our project.
With our animation finally in place, it was time to build the church, both exterior and interior. At first, we were inspired by Catholic cathedrals, but eventually settled on something darker, an occult, semi-abandoned church. Damp, eerie and shadowy. One of the biggest challenges at the stage was finding cassette packs that fit the tone for our cinematic. But the real difficulty was bringing them together into a believable living environment. The main obstacle was with the floor. We couldn't find a suitable one, so we decided to create our own. We bought textures, adjusted the level of detail and used displacement maps to make it look more natural. For destroyer elements, broken stained glass, collapsed walls, we combined assets and textures from fab, adding dirt and moss for a more authentic feel. Also, we reworked the material from the Easy Mapper plugin, which gave us more detailed texturing of assets with various textures.
When we started working, we couldn't find suitable clothing assets on ArtStation.
So we decided to create it ourselves. The main challenge was the lack of tutorials on clothing creation, so we had to search for information online. Fortunately, some of our friends who joined the course had already worked professionally with clothing in Marvelous Designer.
I was recommended some useful tutorials on YouTube which helped me learn the basics of clothing creation.
Later, I was able to create outfits for our main character as Zombie. Overall, communication in Discord helped us a lot. We shared feedback, discussed ideas and gave each other tips on how to work with specific tools.
This was a huge help in designing the outfits and working on the cinematic overall.
For the main hero, we created a military uniform inspired by a CDC employee's outfit. For the zombie, we chose a monk's robe, emphasizing their occult nature. For the zombie crowd, in the final scene, we used pre-made skeletal meshes, adding clothing and textures like dirt, moss and worn surfaces from the fab to enhance the look. We didn't ignore the face of our zombie either. We picked references and resculpted the metahuman head in ZBrush, creating a creepy zombie face with rotting skin and empty eyes. We swapped the head on the main metahuman. To add more horror, we added custom textures, cracks, blood, dirt.
We struggled for a long time to create our first lighting setup in the scene.
We tested many options. Some looked too green, others were too dark. In the end, with the help of our mentors, we found the most suitable reference and built the lighting based on it.
Eventually, we began adapting that lighting setup across all the other scenes.
We created a unique green scene atmosphere. In each scene, we built multi-layered lighting, a mystical bluish-green light filtering through the stained glass, warm glow of torches and candles, creating contrast and dense fog, adding depth to the space. This gave the needed atmosphere, a bit anxious, dark, but expressive and cohesive. To ensure everything looked high quality and cinematic, we used ultra-volumetric. The fog in particular helped us achieve the desired effect in the scene.
After finalizing lighting and assets, we moved on to the last stage of production in Unreal, visual effects. While the course initially focused on using Niagara for VFX, we decided to incorporate Houdini for more complex simulation. In Houdini, we created pistol muzzle flash and post-show smoke, both simulated as VDB volumes and imported into Unreal using VDB cache. They were rendered with a sparse volume material. For the muzzle flash we used built-in engine material, and for the smoke a custom shader. The blood on the altar and the zombie's face was simulated using the flip solver. Saliva was created with volume constraints meshed by VDB conversion from polygons. Both were exported like an alembic. It's standard pipeline. We also used Niagara for several atmospheric effects. For example, fog, dust, leaves, and even a VDB-style torch, created with the relatively new fluid emitter. After studying a large amount of documentation and tutorials, we have successfully achieved the desired results. It's not perfect, but we are proud what we have accomplished.
Color correction of the scene was done in 2 stages. The base color was set in Unreal with post-process volume and color grading. We corrected locally through the color correction region. We paid special attention to shadow areas, slightly lifted shadows to keep detailing in dark areas. This is well seen in the whole cinematic, where even in half darkness details are visible. Final color correction in After Effects. This solution was chosen as the convention and flexible for precise post-processing. We used deep glow to enhance the glow of torches and gunshots, chromatic aberration for realistic distortions, grain for film noise, with the curves tool we tuned fine contrast. Edge blur added atmomorphic softness, and with the distortion we achieve a true lens-like effect. Sound picture: creaking wood, howling wind, echo of drops. Music: minimalistic ambient with low frequencies. Accent in dramatic moments, increased tension. The soundtrack was internally minimalistic. We aimed to maintain contrast tension with rare musical accents at key dramatic moments. This approach helped keep the focus on the visual storytelling and environmental sound design. 10 months, endless tweaks, hundreds of hours of rendering, countless mistakes and failed attempts. But when we finally saw the finished result, every second of work was worth it. In the end, this was not just a learning experience, it was real teamwork, where we created our short film from scratch. Our story proves, with persistence and a strong team, anything is possible. We went through this path in IsaevWorkshop during the Cinematic Ultra bootcamp. With this experience behind us, true man's cinematic is ready to take on new challenges. Thank you for watching. Bye.